Code blue. Sala blue. Where you there now? Where you
The country is in a disaster.
Emergency, emergency. Emergency. The country is in the disaster.
Who they rule this country?
I tell you, stop worshiping the politicians. They are all liars.
What are you talking about? Which politicians are liars?
All of them. Obi is a liar. Tinubu is corrupt. Atiku is very with you. All of them, okay?
Don't argue with me. This is my show, okay? This is my show. I don't allow anybody to defend my show. This is my show. This is my show, okay? You can get the heck out of this room. Baba, this is my show. Get the heck out of this room. I don't handle defeating my duty.
And I'm saying it categorically. All of them are liars. All of them are thieves. Abba!
Code blue. Code blue. Sala blue. Where you there now? Where you
The country is in a disaster.
Emergency, emergency. Emergency. The country is in the disaster.
Who they rule this country?
I tell you, stop worshiping the politicians. They are all liars.
What are you talking about? Which politicians are liars?
All of them. Obi is a liar. Tinubu is corrupt. Atiku is very with you. All of them, okay?
Don't argue with me. This is my show, okay? This is my show. I don't allow anybody to defend my show. This is my show. This is my show, okay? You can get the heck out of this room. Baba, this is my show. Get the heck out of this room. I don't handle defeating my duty.
And I'm saying it categorically. All of them are liars. All of them are thieves. Abba!
Hello, everybody. Here we are today again. Code Blue, Sala Blue, OGM News. Now, I've been dealing with few feedback since yesterday. Because as usual, my people know they like the truth. But I don't really care about that actually, because if you really want to be the voice of the truth, you ain't got to worry about people like that. So I'm not worried about anyone who doesn't really care about the truth. So yesterday, I put it down straight that we have a big issue in the country. Like Nigerians, we usually shoot ourselves in the foot, okay? And I sent some clear message to Omoyele Sowore and his idea of revolution now. To simply dial things back a little bit, because it seems there is no accurate planning in place for these revolution now outcry. It's all about noise for me. And when I said this, a lot of you guys misconstrued that idea. I see. I'm supporting Tinubu's administration. This is one thing that always get me about you guys. Whenever you get a straight advice, you solidly think that the person offering you that advice is associated with another group that you don't like. You guys are like that housewife, that every time he wants his friends to also be the enemy of her husband's concubine, Just because you don't like someone doesn't have to mean that everybody that gives you a good advice is related to that person. This is not the way the real life works, guy. Can you just deal with reality? Okay, look, I stand by everything I say. okay, from a very reliable source, some very bad eggs from very decayed egg among us are already infiltrating this idea of revolution now. Okay, they already injecting an idea of destruction into it. Okay, look, it's not as if this has never happened before in Nigeria. Why are you all of a sudden sounding like you are shocked that I'm saying it? That some people are about to infiltrate what you are planning. And the idea is to head straight to Dangote refinery and other structures that hold Nigeria together and destroy it. That is their plan. That is their plan. You know, my warning is to just ask you guys to be very careful of whatever you are planning. Because the moment you set out on the street, these decayed agents will flock in with you and we turn what is supposed to be a peaceful protest into a destructive protest. That's what I'm warning you guys. You know, do you even have ears left to listen to warnings? Unbelievable. And some of you keep coming like I've been paid by some administration. Really? I mean, whatever. I wish. Who doesn't like money? I wish I've been paid by Tinubu or whatever. But even if Tinubu gives me money, I will still be the one in the forefront to criticize the guy. Okay? I'll tell him straight up, man, you just wasted your money because the first time you messed up, I'll call you out. Okay? So look, slow your roll, guys. Beat it down. It makes no sense. Okay? You are just being used. Period. Either by, Omoyele Sowore outcry of revolution now, or the idea of some of the obedient outcry to shut things down. Okay? Some of these people do not have control of what they are about to start. Period. This is what I'm telling you. They do not have full control of the machine they are about to kickstart. Okay? And once it's all streamrolled, it gets out of hand. And politicians and these bad agents will hijack whatever protest you were planning. Period. Period. We see this game plan used in China. We see it used in Hong Kong. We see it everywhere. So it's no different in Nigeria. Some of you are still shocked how NSAS become a destructive protest rather than a peaceful protest. Because before the toll gate issue happened, guys were literally on street looting stores, looting shops, burning cars. What do you call that? I mean, do you imagine the perspective of Nigerian citizens coming out to protest against the government, but then start destroying things that they need, infrastructures that is useful for them? I mean, how can you destroy your own life and be asking for it to be fixed? I just don't get it. And this is what I am saying personally, that if you are going to plan a revolution, a so-called revolution, or a protest, how are you able to manage this protest from top to bottom, making sure that these bad element doesn't infiltrate it and then it turn to sour rather than a peaceful project. But from what I've seen so far, there's no good planning. Okay? And what will eventually happen is many bad elements, which I told you I already have a good source on this matter. Some very bad agents are already planning to use this to their advantage. And the idea is to destroy good infrastructures in Nigeria. Good infrastructures in which Dangote refinery is top of the echelon of. Okay? So, how is it possible that I'm giving you these as a warning, and all of a sudden, some of you fools think that I'm being paid to say this by Dangote? I wish. Who doesn't like money? But we all know that is not it, because Sala Blue is always about the truth. See, I'm not here only to call out the government. I'm not here only to call out the powerful people. I'm not here only to call out those oppressors that we've been dealing with. I'm also here to call out Nigerians who have been misled into thinking that the agitation they have is for their own purpose, for their own agenda. Before you know it, you're already fighting somebody else's fight. You're already fighting to improve somebody else's dream. And I really don't want you to get yourself involved in this. You know? All right. This is where we start today. Okay? I will be starting literally from this video circulating. This video here was posted by Pastor Okeze, okay, and reflecting on the youths of Abuja actually declining to join the protest or whatever revolution you guys are planning. All right, let's see this briefly. Here we go.
Why the youth stakeholders of various groups in FCT have gathered today to say clearly and issue out a statement that they are distancing themselves from the planned nationwide protests by certain elements. And I, as their son and also their brother, strongly also stand with them, because the people of FCT can only take a stand when we stand together. And right now we are standing together to say that we are not in support of any national protest that will be staged in FCT, and those who are planning to do so should distance themselves from it.
We, the indigenous people of FCT, are saying no to any kind of protest against this present government. The reason are, this is the only government that have recognized the indigenous people of FCT. And we will continue to support the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu 101%, because what we have been agitating for, he have come to our aid. We don't have any reason to fight the government.
I want to say this categorically, that we, the women, we say no to protest, because the government has done well to us. The government is working for the women. Our president has never let the women down, especially in FCT. He has given us permanent secretary, an indigenous woman, has taken that position. Saying no to protest. We, the women of indigenous people of FCT, we said no to any protest that they want to do. If you have any protest that you want to do, go back to your state and allow us to be in peace, because we are enjoying what the president is doing to us.
A lot of things have been going on social media, and part of what is going on social media is that a lot of groups are calling for a protest. We want to categorically state that we, the indigenous youth groups, as we gathered here, will not be part of that protest. The reasons are that protests don't usually end well in the FCT. There are usually a lot of destructions, and we don't even have any reason to want to protest, especially now, because some of the things that we have been advocating for, especially the minister, has been appointed amongst the indigenous group of the FCT.
Understand why.
So thank you to News Updates for putting this together. See, this is what I was saying earlier. Now, you might conclude that these guys were paid, okay? Yes, it is possible. It is possible, because a lot of people come out agitating, protesting, and they are just paid demonstrators, okay? But if you agree with me that these guys are paid, you can also be suspicious of the fact that some of these protests are being sponsored. It's just an idealistic reasoning, okay? There's nothing, bias about it. It's an idealistic reasoning that if you agree that these guys are paid to be counterproductive to the protest, then you might as well agree that some of the protesters are also paid. This is a true scenario under any political atmosphere. Okay? That is always possible. Now, is that negating the fact that protest is not allowed? Of course, protest is viable. It's one of the best methods to voice your opinion against any oppression. I'm in full support of a peaceful protest. But now, let's go back to the anatomy of these proposed protests. Okay? Now, while about 50%, let me just give it 50%, okay? 50% of Nigerians who are agitating are willing to go on the street and peacefully protest, okay? The rest of the group, the other 50%, what do you think is their agenda? What is the plan? What is the hidden concern that you are not aware of? Are you sure you know everything about the person next to you walking on the street and protesting? Have you imagined the scenario while you are carrying a placard, peacefully protesting, but the guy next to you suddenly come up with a weapon, trying to hurt someone? This is just the reality that is obtainable in today's world, period. I'm just emphasizing these. As a matter of fact, many of the protests that has pushed Black Americans to a good stage or a good level in the United States have been very peaceful. Did you know why? Because many of the Martin Luther King movement and others, they have offered not just rhetoric, not just ideas, not just talking points, but they also offered trainings to fellow protesters as to how to de-escalate. Okay? They offered trainings as to how to de-escalate in case the police are about to escalate. Now, this is a group of people that were dealing with racists, okay? The oppressing governments at that point in time were basically racist government. They had to deal with this. When the police come out against Martin Luther King and the protesters back then, they were not coming out for any other reason but to come out and kick their butts. Kick their butts, basically injure them or, take their lives. But Martin Luther King and his groups knew this perfectly well. And rather than actually agitating unnecessarily, they trained them to know the best method to de-escalate. And that is why when you see many of the protesters being attacked, what do? They use their hands to cover their head and bow low to make sure they are in a well-composed manner to portray peace. Even at that, these police that have deep hate in their heart still went ahead and kicked many of them physically. So I guess what I'm saying is that, what is the plan, Mr. Shore? If you are planning for a bloodless protest or a bloodless revolution, what are your plans? How are you making sure you are able to stop those who want to turn it to what is basically not your agenda? If you really believe these are not reasonable questions, then you are so deluded that you don't even know what is next for you. What is the plan? How are you able to channel, that peaceful protest idea? How are you able to de-escalate and deal straightforward with bad agents who are trying to turn this protest to their own personal agenda, which is destructive? Some of them are paid. They are paid to infiltrate protest and completely turn it into a destructive protest rather than a peaceful protest. So that would give the police and the military or whatever government dispatch the opportunity or the excuse to go after people and attack them. So what are your plans to actually make sure you de-escalate and make sure that this is true and true a peaceful protest? And if you really are planning for a bloody protest, a bloody revolution, okay, that, I'm referring to Mr. Showore now. If you are planning for a bloody revolution, what is your plan? I'm guessing now you are not going to concede that this is a plan for a bloody revolution, because that will be automatically tainted as a coup or an insurrection. And I'm pretty sure you don't want to do that. Okay? If you really want to be the face of insurrection, do you really have a plan to wage war against the government of Nigeria? Or you just think that you can call on Nigerians who can be sacrificial lambs and throw them in the forefront and waste people's life? Is that the plan? These are reasonable questions. I do not have any stake with anyone. My main platform is to push an idea that helps us to successfully beat the oppressors. But I'm not going to do that on the back of wasting any innocent life. And many of you guys, you're just really shouting, yelling, riling people up, agitating unnecessarily, anger that is unbridled. But then, to what end? To what end? You're really willing to push people to the extreme in order to be able to achieve your own personal goals, make people lose lives, properties, and then we end up losing infrastructures that are promising to the future of Nigeria? Or do you really think Nigeria is just far gone to the point that we should just burn it down? I'm asking sincerely. I wish Omoyele Sowore can actually answer these sincere questions. These are basic questions about a plan here. Okay? I am not saying here that a protest is not useful. I'm not saying that a protest is not allowed. It's legal. And it's needed now. Trust me, more than ever. It's needed in Nigeria now more than ever for us to go on the street and peacefully protest. But my skepticism is this truly going to end up as a peaceful protest? If you are not asking yourself that question, two things. It's either you are completely selfish, that you are calling for a protest, but your actual plan is to sit back while you see other people being destroyed. That is one. Or secondly, you are so deluded that you don't even know what is going on. You're just going with the bandwagon. But guys, this is not your sports outfits. This is not Premier Leagues where you support Chelsea or Manchester United or Manchester City. Okay, sport banter is it's okay, but political banter from a guy that witnessed, and witnessed 1983, political banter is not the same as your football banter. Okay, political banter is real. It have a real life consequences. Yeah, you can poke the eyes of your Manchester United rival, Manchester City rival, your Arsenal rival, or your Chelsea rival. But if you poke the eye of your political rival, it quickly turns dirty. It quickly turns dirty. Am I the only one seeing this? That we should tread carefully? And suddenly, when I say tread carefully, some fools come up on comment sections saying that I'm being paid. Of course, I'm telling you now, sincerely, I wish. Who doesn't like money? I do wish, but I'm not being paid. Okay? Of course, Tinubu and his people, you are listening. If you want to send me some money, go ahead and do it. But I will still badmouth you anyway. It doesn't matter to me. I will spend your money. I will eat akara. And I will eat guguru with your money. And I will still badmouth you. It doesn't cost me nothing to badmouth anybody out there. Okay? Now, Bayo Ononuga, I told you yesterday, was being completely outrageous, blaming Peter Obi of anarchy. Now, first of all, anarchy has an undertone to it. You can't just call someone an anarchist just for rallying people against the government in a peaceful protest. Because Peter Obi or the Obedient hasn't come out that they were going to be violent about this. So why are you referring to them as anarchists? See, of all people, Bayo Ononuga should know better. This is a guy who have used his pen as a journalist to go after oppressors, to go after bad administration, especially military administration. You know, this guy have used his pen to go after military oppressors who have governed us in the past. It's someone that I really respect. But coming from him, the same guy who has used his pen many times to write articles against oppressors, now calling people who are trying to organize protest, a peaceful protest, an anarchist, is an epitome of bias idiosyncrasy that I've ever seen. Dial it back, Bio. This is not what you need to do. Focus on how you can guide Tinubu's administration towards good and new Nigeria, or whatever hope that you campaign on. Okay? Opposition party, for now, are doing exactly what they need to do. Exactly what they need to do. Fight back. And so far, it's been peaceful. Yes, I understand some of them may have said some irrational things online, but the top of this echelon have used good languages that are supposed to be used. Yes, you don't see Peter Obi coming out to celebrate whenever Tinubu achieve anything successful, but he doesn't have to. As a free Nigerian, he doesn't have to come up and dance every time Tinubu do something good. Who cares? It is your job anyway to do something good for the country. Why are we dancing about it? Why should be a dancing time because Tinubu achieved some milestone? It's not a biggie. It shouldn't be a biggie. You know? Yes, we shouldn't settle for this mediocrity idea of dancing around every time the government achieves something. It is their job to achieve the needful for the people. It's not a celebratory moment. So if Peter Obi is not coming out to celebrate every time Tinubu achieve a milestone, so be it. He doesn't have to. And if at the same breath, his main objective is to come out every time to attack Tinubu whenever Tinubu make missteps, so be it. That is what democracy should be about. You guys know better. By honor, guy, I'm so disappointed about the unnecessary jargons that you wrote on the social media attacking Peter Obi as an anarchist. Yes, there are some bad eggs. I always say this. Every time there is a good movement, some bad eggs from bad agents always infiltrate it. But stop casting a shadow on everybody based on these bad agents. Because basically, my warning to those who are planning the protest is to beware of these bad agents. Because I will say this again, because I've warned you about this and some of you are not taking it serious. I will say it again. There are a particular movement right now. It's not obedience and it's not Shore's Revolution Now movement. Let me clarify that. Okay? But there is a particular movement now that their aim and objective is to infiltrate these protests and use these as an opportunity to destroy infrastructures in Nigeria. And one of the top of these infrastructures is Dangote Refinery. And that is why I am calling on everybody involved in this protest planning to beware. To beware. Now, if I see you attacking what I just said, that means you are part of the problem. That means you think and you know that, yes, you are one of those planning evil. Okay? Now, I'm done talking about this. Let's move on to the next topic. The same topic as, because I want to make this a part 2 of what I discussed yesterday. Okay? So I'm just going to nail it on on the same topic. Okay, basically the same topic. So that means my next focus now will be about NNPC plan to take over Dangote refinery. Now, we have this article on ogmnewsng.com that is circulating about Dangote and some other crisis around that refinery. So when we conclude with this news article and released it on ogmnewsng.com, some of you guys were making comments that sounds like you really do hate Dangote. Okay? Look, I don't care. I don't really care. Okay? If you hate the guy. Okay? But Dangote refinery is not about this guy. It's about Nigerians. This is actually strange because everyone on all sides, obedient, the debates, the articulates, everyone have one singular agreement that Nigeria needs more refinery. We keep saying it every now and then that we need more refinery. Who cares who give you that refinery? Who cares is from the north, is from the west, or is from the east? Who cares, for God's sake, if you really have Nigeria in mind, if you really want Nigeria to grow? Who cares? The owner of this refinery may as well be Chukuma. I do not care. The owner may as well be Omotayo. I do not care. Now that it's actually, in fact, Dangote from the north, I do not give a hoot. What really matters is what this refinery stands for. Nigeria has tried several times without number through the same NNPC to fix our refinery problem. Pumping money. This doesn't just start with Buhari. It started with Obasanjo himself, then Jonathan, then Buhari embarked on the same mission of trying to resuscitate the dead refinery. And yet, have you had any of it start working yet? They tell us that the Port Harcourt refinery is about to. About to is what we keep hearing, but it hasn't even started yet. It hasn't even got as far as Dangote refinery has gone. So not only that Dangote refinery is so close into ending our struggle with petrol, with fuel, with gas, whatever you name, you call it, is what in the modern era is one of the best in the world. Nigeria has this to brag about. Now, who really cares if this is located in Aba or Onitsha or Enugu? Because if you really care about that means you are strongly deluded. You need help. Go and see your psychologist. Period. Who really cares if this refinery is located in Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Sokoto? Because if you really care about the location of this refinery, that you are worried that because it's not near your tribal orientation, then you need to see your psychologist fast. Okay? So that you get shrink. Who really cares where this is located? What really matters is that it needed to be located close to shore. And Lagos Environs provided one. And there we have it. So now, most of the problem that this refinery and Dangote is facing is not coming from a good place. It's not. It's coming from the real evil among us. I'm not making this about Dangote, okay? Because as far as I'm concerned, you will never see me backing any of the billionaires. I don't care what kind of billionaires you are. I'm not going to back billionaire over regular people. But this refinery is not about the billionaires. It's not about Dangote. It's about you regular people. Employments, jobs being created. The idea that we're getting close to slashing the price of fuel down towards an affordable price for you regular people. The idea that will be enough production of gas from this refinery to be able to supply all the CNG stations so that you can drive around your car without having to rely only on petrol or fuel. The idea that these plants, this refinery, will generate enough fertilizers for agricultural products to help you, regular Nigerians. That is the place where I'm coming from. Should it really matter who owns this refinery? What should really matter to an average Nigerian is how this benefits you. And not that there's a plan for a protest and some bad agent are targeting this refinery. This should give us a great concern. We should protect this with everything we have, because this is not just for us. Today, this is for our upcoming children and our children's children. Whenever we have something like this in the society, grab hold of it and protect it. Period. Yeah, his name is labeled on it, but don't be MAGAs, the Make American Great group of American, who after Obama gave them the Obamacare, they hate it. But then they go to the hospitals and use it. Just because Obama's name is on the Care Act, they completely hate it. Why would they want to have a black man's name on something so popular? They hate that concept. So you may likely hate Dangote. I don't really care. I don't give a F for that. But at least show concerns that this refinery has a benefit, a very huge amount of benefit for our society as Nigerians. That alone is enough for me. Now, NNPC, using their various agents to attack this refinery, you don't think there's a reason for that? You think they really like you so much? You don't think there's a reason why NNPC shut down all the refinery in the first place? You don't think there's a reason NNPC managed refineries are dead? There's a reason for all this. Many of these fools managing this so-called NNPC have guys in foreign countries managing refinery outside Nigeria, for God's sake, and yet import these fuel back for you to buy. You want to continue with that? Good luck, because it means you are not in reality, you live in the cave. So you might as well just stay in your cave and stop disturbing human. Okay? Because as far as I'm concerned, animal live in the cave. So stay in your caves. Don't come out. And if you're a vampire, only come out in the night. Don't come out during the day. Leave us humans alone. These are realistic concerns. NNPC is a bad agent in Nigeria. Period. Period. They have been corrupted a long time ago. And that is why seeing this refinery come up is not a good idea for the cabal who have eaten NNPC to the bone marrow. Every time you see some of these politicians coming out and attacking the idea of canceling the subsidy, the fuel subsidy, you think they really like you? You think they are for the people? Oh God, what is wrong with Nigerians? They are not. They are just for their own pocket. They will scream at their lungs, telling you, "Oh, Tinubu shouldn't have canceled the subsidy from day one because this is bad for Nigeria. Nigeria is not prepared for it." It's because the subsidy is giving them billions of dollars, which they steal every now and then. Why wouldn't they complain? And then you join in it, thinking they are fighting for you. You see how silly you are? You see how silly you are, thinking that these fools are fighting for you. They are not. Now, with the cancellation of the subsidy, their businesses just shut down. Their illegal businesses, stealing of Nigerian fuel, oil, just shut down. Even at that, they're still trying to steal it. You know how many ships were caught recently trying to cut away your oil? Now, the idea of these refineries springing up is still not good for them because they are still importing from their own refinery in abroad. I'm not going to name them. There's one prominent politician among these who have refinery in Dubai. Okay? Now, I'm not naming name because OGM News is not allowing me to do that. I would have loved to. Who owns a refinery in Dubai, importing fuel back to Nigeria? You think Dangote refinery helps him? Of course not. Of course not. He will shut it down at the blink of an eye if he has the power. And that is what they all been trying to do. Imagine this fool here. Let me show you his picture once again. Imagine this fool here, Farouk Ahmed, making an utter nonsense statement about, that Dangote refinery is offering bad diesel. Whereas he has been alleged in the past of doing exactly what he just alleged Dangote refinery of. And my question is, why is this guy still have a job after making that allegation? Why does he still have a job? He was alleged in the past of importing fuel into Nigeria. So if he is importing fuel and selling it, you think Dangote refinery helped his cause? And you think suddenly he's fighting for you? I'm going to say this again, guys. Do not make this about Dangote. Okay? Dangote is a man that has flaws like any other man. He's a billionaire that is greedy like any other billionaire. But this particular refinery is not about Dangote. It's about you, Nigerians. Okay? If Nigerians have the opportunity and privilege that all our billionaires, look, all the billionaires we've produced in Nigeria, bring back their dollars, their pounds from abroad, from foreign hidden banks. If they bring this money home and invest it like Dangote is doing, you think we will still be exactly where we are now? You think that dollar will be up here in the sky if these people bring this money home and invest it on you, Nigerians? More billionaires about 70% of these billionaires in Nigeria are hiding their money in foreign countries. 70%. So meaning about 40% of these billionaires are investing. So I'm not even talking about fully investing. Some of them that are still investing in Nigeria still hides money in Cayman Island and elsewhere, offshore. But let's just conclude that about 40% are investing. About 30% are investing, sorry. Yeah, what happens to the 70%? If these 70% turn in their assets and invest it in Nigeria, can you imagine how huge that would have eliminated poverty? And that is where it's sickening that we make these about government alone. It's never all about, yes, government is seriously the bottom line here, is the root of our problem. Because as far as I'm concerned, we've never had it good in Nigeria, as far as government is concerned. That is why I personally don't trust any politicians. I don't. You can go ahead, based on religion, you can think that a politician is going to help you out. Good luck with that. But I do not, and I will never. Because I don't care what you think is going on now. I've never witnessed all my life. From one year to the other, we keep using previous year to praise the current year. So what that tells you is that we've never had it good with governance. So at this age, I'm not going to be so rigmarolling into supporting any useless politicians out there. That would be the last thing I would do. But guys, get your act together. If you're going to protest, have a good plan. Have a very solid plan. Don't just make it about yourself, okay? And make sure that you are well prepared to deal with all the bad agents who are trying to infiltrate this protest, because it's real. Believe it or not, I am telling you, and I'm going to give you the warning again. They are out there planning to destroy Nigerians' infrastructure. I don't think you are planning that, but those who are planning that will join this protest and they will bastardize the whole idea. Whether you are ready to deal with that, who knows, who cares? So now, let me use this last link to share my concern about this idea of revolution now. Okay, a revolution now that Omoyele Sowore is pushing. You see, this video is circulating about a House member.
I would like to ask the president, and I asked him the other day, the children who died and the children who are in the prisons, please remove them. Those who have died, I want to ask this House, the Senate, let us make sure that those children get a state funeral. Those who are not criminals, these are children who had reached a dead end. We, the politicians in this House, we are the ones who carry militias. We are.
Okay, I'll stop right there. Okay. Now, the reason why I go to that clip is just to show you the aftermath of whatever they think you're planning. That is just Kenya, a very small Kenya, and yet a revolution idea failed. A very minute Kenya, not to be disrespectful to Kenya, a revolution idea failed. And I told you yesterday, a revolution idea in Nigeria is a dream. But you guys think, oh, who is this guy? What does he know? Look, even though I've earned my credentials to be able to provide solid advice politically, but I'm not going to brag about that today. I'm just saying, look, the reality here is that a revolution idea in Nigeria is nothing but a dream. This is just Kenya. And the aftermath of whatever they start is destruction of properties and lives. Now, guess what? These are not the properties of the politicians. Because if we destroy one house that a politician built, trust me, he will replace that with two after your whole revolution. Or replace it with three, even. But most of the houses and shops and stores destroyed, looted, belongs to regular Kenyans. What about the life lost? Regular people, not politicians, not their children. Of course, their children are out of the country. What do you expect? I'm sorry, Omoyele Sowore is leading revolution now. Ask him where his children are. Where his children are. Ask him. I'm pretty sure they're not in Nigeria. His wife is not in Nigeria. Not to, open complete kind of worm on the guy's family. That's not what I'm about. Okay? I want his safety. I want his family's safety. I want everybody to be protected. But I'm just asking a sincere question here. If somebody is leading you to a destruction, ask that person, where are your people? It's a very simple, basic, holistic question to ask. It's not really hard. Where are your people? Where are your family? Your immediate family, where are they? If you're pushing me to the forefront, where are they? Ask that question. Ask that question. Because no human have a privilege, a better privilege to life than any other human. We all own equal right to exist on this earth. So if you are asking me to join a protest, where are your kids? Now, at the end of the day in Kenya, it all ended. But who suffers the brunt? Now, the same politician they are fighting to push off are now pleading on their behalf to give them a state barrier, to give them money. You really want that to be your destiny? Really? Are you so prepared? Because if you are going to lose your life, something, you better become a hero. But if the end of it is going to be that the same politician that you are fighting against are now begging for money to be given for your burial, that is not heroic. Now, that is not heroic at all. Because not only that you lost the call, the same people you are trying to edge out of power are still in power. Now, laughing at you, because this is basically what it is. When a house member in Kenya is begging for money for their burial, that's like laughing at them after death. Nothing changed. Yeah, the guy removed all his cabinet, and so what? He still remained the president in Kenya. Most of the members of the house still remains. The government stand by. Nothing changes. Nothing. Look, if you don't get my points, good luck. As far as I'm concerned, I give you nothing but a middle finger. My middle finger is always hot, and it can go anywhere. As far as deep into behind, I don't care. If you think you want to come up on my segment and throw some jabs and some useless comment, yeah, you are free to say whatever you like. It's freedom of speech. But I'm also free to give you a long, hot middle finger that go up anywhere and stick up there. Who give a freebie? I don't care. But if you are listening carefully to these as things reasonable to ask, things reasonable to consider, I give you kudos. But you don't have to be my fan. Just do the right thing by yourself. Do the right thing for your family. Because at the end of the day, this is what this is all about. We have the same struggle as a Nigerian. to be able to provide for your family, to be able to have your kids go to good schools, to be able to have them survive these life tussles, and to be able to be somebody in Nigeria. It's not too hard to ask. It's not too much to ask. But while you are following your dream, ensure yourself that you are not pursuing other man's dream. Because if you go into a protest that you don't really understand the agenda, that means you are following and pursuing other man's dream. But your dream is left behind. Don't get left behind, Nigerians. This is Code Blue, Sala Blue, and I'll see you in a while.
Blue, Code Blue, Sala Blue, where you there now? Where you
The country is in a disaster.
Emergency, emergency, emergency. The country is in the disaster.
Who they rule this country?
I tell you, stop worshiping the politicians. They are all liars.
What are you talking about? Which politicians are liars?
All of them. Obi is a liar. Tinubu is corrupt. Atiku is very too. All of them. Okay.
Don't argue with me. This is my show. Okay, this is my show. I don't allow anybody to dictate my show. This is my show. Okay, you can get the heck out of this room. Baba, this is my show. Get the heck out of this room. I don't handle.
And I'm saying it categorically. All of them are liars. All of them are thieves.